a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes.
And yes, here we are again, another day committed to being your consumer advocate here as the Consumer Quarterback Show, helping you win in any marketplace. Got a great lineup for you on the program today. We're going to be kicking off here in just a moment with State Rep Berny Jacques. We're going to talk with him about his recent interview on Bay News 9, as well as a couple of national stories that I wanted to get to here. Something with the ACLU filing a federal lawsuit in Indiana, basically protecting a convicted child murderer. They want him to get genital surgery. So the wackiness continues there. Also, got a clip about the New York Times saying elections are bad for democracy, and more with State Rep. We're going to also talk about the hurricane cleanup opportunities and situation there as well. Coming up, Jenny Restrepo as well, Insured Title Agency, Alex Lima, Black Belt Fitness and Martial Arts, also on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Before we do, we always like to feature a couple of our hot listings. It's part of our strategy from the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. My wife Lindsay and I own a top team here in Tampa Bay, and we feature our real estate properties live on air, and the strategy is more exposure equals faster closings for more money. 51 Island Way in Clearwater. This is a beautiful listing that we've got here on Clearwater Beach. Gorgeous one-bedroom, one-bathroom property, 680 square feet. It's 51 Island Way, unit number 906. And you're on Clearwater Beach. Just a beautiful property and great floor plan. You got beautiful views of the Intracoastal Waterway, the Gulf of Mexico. So bring your boat. Enjoy the best of the Florida lifestyle. Beautiful pool and spa right on site there as well. Great opportunity at 51 Island Way, unit number 906. Also, got a property here at Bardmore Place in Tampa, 13906 Bardmore Place, unit B. It's Carrollwood Townhome for sale. One of our 55 listings from the Platinum MVP team here in Tampa Bay. 3 bedrooms, 2.5 bath, 2-car garage, 2,163 square feet, hurricane impact windows, complete remodel, beautiful home here with a updated kitchen. Got the lighter colors going on in the kitchen. People love that. You also have stainless steel appliances, beautiful finishes, and a 5-person jacuzzi as well. You got a property here, 13906 Bardmore Place, Unit B in Tampa, and you can see all of our listings at PlatinumCoastalElite.com.
Try that in a small town. See how far you make it down the road.
All right, Representative Berny Jacques, welcome back to the show, my friend.
Thanks for having me, Brandon.
Absolutely. So, where do you want to start off? I know there's a lot happening in the Bay Area with the recent storm passing through. A lot of people are struggling right now.
Absolutely. The most important thing is for folks to know that if they need help and any kind of information regarding the storm here in the aftermath, floridadisaster.org is a great state website that can guide you through everything you need to know post-storm. And also, folks can reach out to my office, all my constituents. Our office line here is 727-519-0560, help you navigate the insurance process and so forth. If you have a claim due to flooding and otherwise damage from the storm, we stand ready to help. But definitely make sure to monitor floridadisaster.org and keep in touch with our office and our social media channels as well. You can follow me at Berny Jacques and our website as well, bernyforflorida.com, ways you can get in touch with us.
What's that number again, Berny?
So my number at our office is 727-519-0560. And so my district encompasses portions of Seminole, all of Largo, unincorporated Clearwater, right up to Bel Air Road, Pinellas Park west of 66. And even if I'm not your state representative, we can get you to who can help you. So don't hesitate to reach out to our office. Again, that's 727-519-0560.
0560, yeah. And what are you seeing out there? I've seen some clips here and there on social media, and what areas that you see have got hit the hardest?
Well, the areas that's been hit the hardest are the coastal communities, just across the bridge from our district, and the Reddingtons and Madeira saw some significant flooding. In fact, our City of Seminole Fire Department had to run out and do a few rescue calls and out in the beaches in the early morning hours when the storm was just making its way through the coast of Florida. In fact, at 2:30 a.m. that night, they had to put out actually a fire over in Madeira. And I posted a video on my social media. Again, my Twitter is at Berny Jacques, Bernie with a Y. You can see them in flood conditions. I mean, these heroes, these great first responders, basically waist-high water, and they're fighting a blaze. And it's truly amazing what these folks do on our behalf in such a crazy situation like we just had.
You've been one of the great fighters in the state of Florida, helping our wonderful Governor DeSantis in the state of Florida with the fight constantly, whether it's books, books in schools, some of these basically borderline pornographic books that they were allowing into certain schools, to everything. That one of the most recent is this conversation around, I think you were just on Bay News 9 trying to break it down for the people that were basically lying around the ways of the education in the state of Florida around slavery. And can you describe and kind of contextualize that for us?
Sure. There's a lot of lies going on when it comes to the left. When they have their crosshairs on this governor. Governor DeSantis has been a great governor for the state in a number of areas, especially in education. And the reason why he's been so successful in education is because he's focused on real education and is getting rid of the indoctrination in our schools. Now, some on the left have an issue with that. They want your kids to be indoctrinated. They want to push the divisive critical race theory. They want to push down the radical gender ideology. They want to get into the space of parents and leave your kids less educated in the process. And so we took a stance against that. Not only the governor, but myself and the Florida legislature. And we've done a lot of different measures that took out some of this woke ideology in the schools. Now, when we did that, we put a new curriculum together, and it's a robust curriculum on African American history. It teaches all of the facts, the good, the bad, the ugly, everything in between. But the left, they're upset because it doesn't have some of the woke things they want on there. They want to have that critical race theory where they're telling little black kids that they're victims, just because they're black. They want to be able to tell the little white kids that they're oppressors just because they're white. Yeah. I mean, it's plain racist, really. And so when we put out this new curriculum, the new lie now is saying that it says in there that, people benefited from slavery. As you mentioned, I went on Bay News 9 and debunked the whole thing. It does not say that whatsoever, but that doesn't stop them from lying about our governor and our curriculum.
Yeah, they just twist it, they lie, they misrepresent it, anything they can do to try to rile up their side to a certain extent. And I just heard this one this morning. This was another, I subscribe to a podcast in the morning that feeds me a lot of just great stories that are need to be spread, and I'm a full-time realtor. My day job is real estate, selling real estate, making a living for the family, feeding my my kids and all that. But I feel like as a patriot, and of course, being a daily presence here on air 6 days a week now on 860 The Answer, and then our weekend show on 102.5 The Bone, I feel like I need to bring these things to light and just kind of do my little bit of fighting against this nonsense out there that you find. So ACLU, it's an unbelievable clip I'm going to play here, but here we go.
A male prisoner in Indiana who murdered a baby wants gender surgery, and the ACLU wants taxpayers to pay for it.
The ACLU of Indiana filed a controversial lawsuit on Monday on behalf of a convicted child murderer. Daily Wire investigative reporter Mairead Lordy is here with the details. So, Mairead, first off, what is the suit being filed by the ACLU of Indiana?
So the Indiana branch of the ACLU filed this federal lawsuit on Monday against the state corrections department. They're demanding taxpayers foot the bill for genital surgery for inmate Jonathan Richardson, who now goes by Autumn Cordelleone. What they didn't mention is that Richardson is behind bars for murdering his 11-month-old stepdaughter. Richardson, who's 41, was convicted of murdering the baby girl in Evansville, Indiana in 2001, according to Indiana Department of Correction records. The baby's autopsy showed she had been manually strangled to death while her mother was at work, according to court documents from Richardson's appeal.
Just absolutely disgusting, isn't it, Bernie? I mean, can you believe? Do you think that's best use of ACLU's time? And by the way, should taxpayers be paying for something like that?
Absolutely disgusting. This is a heinous individual who is in custody for a very heinous act. The only procedure that taxpayers should be paying for is a procedure that will put him 6 feet under. I mean, this man deserves to be to not be with us anymore. Let's put it that way. And in Florida, we've taken these type of strong actions. As you know, I ran the bill that reformed our death penalty statute that prevented people from preventing the full administration of justice just through a small number of jurors. And so we are a law and order state here in the state of Florida, and we've demonstrated that with the bill that I shepherded and the governor signed. And this man, that's what he deserves up there, not any kind of procedure of that sort on the taxpayer dime. It's completely ridiculous, and it just goes to show you what these woke leftists are up to. They'll even cater to the most heinous of criminals on your dime.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. I mean, it's gender dysphoria. It's a mental illness, and you know they're already in prison. Why would we put other extra resources toward them? It's just crazy. What else are you thinking? Local, topical, or Florida topics should we discuss next, Bernie?
Well, look, I mean, the state of Florida had a banner legislative session earlier this year, and so we're gearing up to go back up this fall for committee weeks. Session will begin in January, and we want to build upon what we've done. So I've already referenced some of the actions we've taken. I mentioned the death penalty. We also made the death penalty eligible for those who commit sexual acts on children, and it used to be a capital offense. And the Supreme Court, the U.S. Supreme Court, said that you can't do that. We're challenging it. We basically said we don't care, right? Our values are, if you're going to commit such a disgusting act on a child, a small child at that, the death penalty should be on the table. And so we're going to litigate this, and we're going to stand by this and make sure that those vile individuals see ultimate justice in that situation. Additionally, we've taken a lot of great steps within education. I mentioned all the woke stuff that we pushed out of the schools, but we also gave parents more tools in their toolkit in order to direct their child's education in the way that they see fit. And the bill that we passed, it was House Bill 1, Universal School Choice. Now, every parent, every child in our state can go to a school of their choice because the money will now follow the student and not the other way around. And so if you're in a situation where you're in a low-performing public school, you can now take those tax dollars that you're pumping into the school system. There is a fund available where you can bring that child to a private school, or even bring them to you don't have to use the fund. You can bring them to a charter school, et cetera. Or if you want to homeschool them, there will be money available as well to pay for expenses that is related to the child education in a homeschooling setting. So this is a great way, it's a revolutionary way that really empowers parents and takes on the education industrial complex that is really not education, it's the indoctrination industrial complex that we've been seeing. So you also now have a way out. If the school is engaging in things that are against your values, you can say no more. We're going to apply for this ESA, Education Savings Account, and bring that child to a school that best fits them and is consistent with your values. This is something I was proud to vote for and something that I was proud to actually co-sponsor as well. Yeah. And hopefully this will hold the schools accountable. Maybe they'll start stepping their game up now that there's real competition. You're in business, and you know that competition brings out the best. It brings out the best services and the best products. That's right. So hopefully this will make our traditional public schools get their act together, or they're going to start losing students by the boatload.
Yeah, absolutely. More with Berny Jacques on the flip side of this break. Take a quick break here. I want to ask you when we come back a little bit about this new push for COVID now. It looks like COVID's making a comeback. It's this election year COVID variant is coming. It's coming in there. Who knows where this could head. But I want to ask you a little bit about our protections in the state of Florida. Hopefully we're not having mass mandates and lockdowns again, and kind of get your perspective on that. Also, the New York Times, Atlantic Magazine coming out saying elections are bad for democracy. We vote too much. They're putting those headlines out, and they're prefacing that for something to come. We'll be right back. More with Berny Jacques on the Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
This is Work Done, and you're listening to the Real Estate Quarterback Show, hosted by my man, Brandon Rhymes.
Online at consumerqb.com.
All right, welcome back. More with Representative Berny Jacques coming up here in just a moment. Before we do, we always like to feature our listings on air. Strategy is to help sellers sell faster for more money. 5146 Marine Parkway, you got a commercial asset for sale in Newport Richey. You're about 1,000 feet from US 19, where you have 40 to 50,000 vehicles a day passing by. Marine Parkway, commercial opportunity from the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. This is a great, exceptional storefront, large windows that invite the natural lighting in. One of our 55-plus listings at the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. Also, we've got a property here at 3573 Rain Tree Circle in Lakeland. We got a Lakeland property as well. We're servicing the 5 or 7 counties around Tampa Bay, but this is a Lakeland property that's available. 3 bedrooms, 2.5 bath, 1,760 square feet, and it's a gorgeous layout. Looks like a nice updated kitchen in there. Beautiful kitchen with stainless steel appliances, granite countertops, and just a great opportunity. Affordable home, 3573 Rain Tree Circle in Lakeland, and you can see all of our real estate listings online at PlatinumCoastalElite.com.
This is God's country.
All right, Bernie, I wanted to get to a couple of these stories, a couple more stories. You've got this Sinners. We've all heard of hopefully you've heard of the Babylon Bee. It's a kind of a parody, but it's a little comedy here. But it's really good. But it's CDC announces deadly new election year COVID variant, and CDC Director Cohen reports Wednesday to announce a new variant. Election year Omicron is thought to be the most disruptive variant yet, and there will be here through January 2024, approximately through November 6th, says Mr. Cohen. So everybody stay at home and get ready to vote by mail. And it goes on to say how the president says we'll probably just go ahead and cancel the general elections this next year as a precaution, as it's the only way to flatten the curve. You don't want to kill grandma, do you? So that's the parody from the CDC. But what's interesting, Bernie, is on Charlie Kirk's show, he pointed out 4 particular headlines, New York Times, The Atlantic, and a couple others, that are basically alluding to this saying that, we vote too much as Americans, and elections are bad for democracy. I'm going to play this quick clip, and I'm going to get your comment.
Like a well-orchestrated play. In 1 week, you have The Atlantic, New York Times, 4 series of op-eds. And I want to get the titles again, guys. New York Times says elections are bad for democracy. Just kind of getting that out there, getting the trial balloon out there. Just kind of getting people to think differently about how, maybe elections are bad because we love democracy, so let's suspend elections. Direct quote from the New York Times. Number 2, Atlantic. We vote too much as Americans. Okay? This is all within 48 hours. Number 3, Atlantic. Donald Trump should not be allowed on the ballot. New York Times. Donald Trump should not be allowed on the ballot, by David French. So that's 4 different articles that are happening within 24 to 48 hours. Of course it's planned. Of course.
It's not just a coincidence, right, Bernie?
No, I mean, you're reading the parody from the Babylon Bee, but the parody's been sounding a lot like reality these days. And
yes.
So I read some of these Babylon Bee headlines and stories, and I can't tell if it's humorous or if it's real, because we can't put it past them, right? I wouldn't put it past them that they would do this exact same thing, because it would definitely be part 2 to what they did in 2020. I mean, they shut down everything. They changed election laws based on that. They sent out the mass mail-in ballots. They were doing consent decrees in Georgia and accepting ballots after Election Day up in Pennsylvania. And so, this is no longer a joke, right? This is something that we have to be mindful of, and something to be on guard about, because certainly they've done it before, and I wouldn't put it past them.
What do you make of the 4 indictments now?
Well, this is, clearly a witch hunt, right? I mean, we say that term quite a bit, but
Yep.
I mean, at this point, it's so overkill that I think even your casual observer who wasn't keen to it way back with the Russia collusion hoax, I mean, I think at this point they're realizing that, hey, they're politically after this guy, and they're weaponizing all the tools at their disposal when it comes to prosecution at all levels of government, right? So, I mean, we knew the FBI had their issues and the deep state and things like that, but now we're seeing it at the local level as well. And we're seeing district attorneys, whether it's out of New York and now Georgia, state's attorney generals, they're using their state powers now to circumvent a lot of the safeguards that are at the federal level, especially when at the federal level there could be a pardon, right? And somebody can make this right, but when you're charging somebody at the state level, that's no longer available to them. So it's quite a breach and quite a new territory to go after your political opponent through that way, because anyone can do that then, right? Anybody who wants to make a name for themselves, any leftist, can now drag any good conservative into court. Right. And so whoever gets into the White House needs to make sure that we take care of this day one, or we're not going to have a republic anymore.
Absolutely. Real quick, we only have about 45 seconds left. This election year push for the COVID variant, what's the chances of us getting locked down and masked up again in Florida?
Yeah, before I go into that, I just want to make a quick highlight that Governor DeSantis, when it comes to prosecutors not doing their jobs and violating their oath, he's actually taken action. So, as you know, he removed the local state attorney over in Tampa quite some time ago, and recently removed the one in the Orlando area. These are, in Florida we'll call them state attorneys, but they're basically district attorneys. These are people who were Soros-backed, and these are the type of people who do this kind of weaponization. These are the type of people who would do these type of things. And so I just want to give a quick shout out to my governor who's taken actions on weaponization.
Amen.
Here in the state of Florida. And your question, I'm sorry, Brandon.
Well, we don't really have time for it now, but thank you for adding that. Now, that's important. He stood up and he's doing the right thing. We really appreciate that. Berny Jacques, find him online, floridadisaster.org. Also, you can call his office directly, 727-519-0560. And Bernie, thanks again for joining us.
Thank you.
My pleasure. 727-519-0560. You can call his office directly if you need help out there as well. We'll be right back here. Coming up, Alex Black Belt Lima and Jenny Restrepo.
Thanks for listening to My Daddy's Show. Please make sure to send him all of your real estate deals and subscribe to the Consumer Quarterback Show podcast on iTunes and Spotify.